We're going to begin today in a child's pose. Extending your arms out in front of you. You're going to place your hands on the block. Your knees are as wide as the mat, toes together behind you. Really sinking those hips back into your heels. Making sure you're breathing here. If you find that you're not able to do that deep breathing, then readjusting yourself into your pose that makes you breathe with ease. If you'd like to take it into a deeper tricep stretch, you can always bend your elbows, taking your hands behind your head in prayer hands. Elbows resting on the blocks, your chest sinking towards the earth. Breathing here, taking a moment to connect to your breath as you open the heart, open up the chest and the shoulders. From here, we're gently going to come out of the pose, lifting the chest. You're going to take your hips over your knees. We're going to come into our extended puppy pose with our hands on either block. Shifting those hands forward, you'll begin to drop your chest down towards the earth, bringing your forehead down towards the mat. Getting a really nice arch in the back as you sink your heart down towards the mat. Coming back to the breath, taking deep breaths here. On your next exhale, we'll begin to lift the chest. We'll bring the hands in towards us. Then you're going to make your way to the middle of the mat. Bring the knees together and sit yourself in between your heels. We're going to come into our saddle pose. Using our blocks, we're going to move the blocks behind us. And you're going to either place your elbows down on either block behind you, keeping the chest open, lengthening your spine here, tucking that chin in slightly. Or you can find your way up on your hands on either side, on your blocks, opening up the heart, finding what feels good in your body, choosing an option where you feel like you can breathe easily through the pose. Enjoying our straddle pose here, or in Sanskrit is also known as Supta Virasana. From here, when you're ready, we're going to gently lift out of this pose. So if you're on your elbows, just gently coming up onto your hands here now. We'll lift ourselves out, maybe widen the blocks just a little bit. And from here we're going to come into downward facing dog with our feet on the block. So you're going to drop your feet on either block, place your hands in front of you, and when you feel ready, you're going to start to push your hips up towards the sky. Coming into our downward facing dog with your feet on the block, taking any movement here that feels good for you and just playing with how this feels within your body and how differently that feels from downward facing dog with your feet on the floor. On your next exhale, gently release, dropping your knees back into the mat. Sink your hips back into your heels, take your hands onto the blocks. And from here, you're going to bring the blocks in front of you again. Placing the blocks to either side of you, lifting them up so that they have some height to them away from the floor. You're going to then take your right foot in front of you, place that foot in between the two blocks, Coming into a low lunge, you'll sink your hips down towards the mat, making sure your right knee is stacked over your ankle. And we're going to have our hands on either of those blocks. So lifting up the blocks as high as you need so that your hands comfortably reach the blocks, letting the blocks support you here. From here, keeping your hands on the blocks, we're now going to start to shift the hips back, straightening that right leg in front of you. Maybe coming up onto the heel, pulling your toes up towards you, or keeping your foot flat on the mat if that feels better, as you bring your chest towards that right leg in our half split pose. We'll then shift our hips forward again. We're going to transition ourselves over to the opposite side, taking the left leg in front of you now, then sinking the hips down towards the earth, making sure the left knee is stacking over the ankle, your hands supporting you on either side of you, but finding length in the spine, support in the core as your navel gently draws in towards the spine, keeping that lower back protected. Breathing here, staying connected to your breath. And from here, we're going to come into that half split pose again, shifting your hips back. Hip comes over that right knee. Left foot down on the mat, or maybe pulling those left toes back towards you. Coming up onto the heel, drawing that left hip back, pushing your right hip forward to really square the hips. Breathing here, hands supporting you on the block. And then you're going to shift forward again and transition your way out of your lunge pose. And we're going to find our way to a seated pose on the mat. And then we're going to find our way, releasing ourselves all the way down onto the mat. You're going to make your way onto your back here. When you make your way onto your back, bringing your right knee into your chest, hugging that knee into your chest and just swaying that leg side to side. Just making sure that you have a block on either side of you here. We're going to come into a twist. When you're ready, you're going to take your left hand on the knee. The right arm is going to reach out towards the side as your left arm guides your right knee across the body onto your block. So you're placing your right knee on a block to support your knee as you gently twist the body. Your right arm extended out towards the right side. Your gaze is either up towards the sky or maybe over towards the right fingertips. Getting a really nice, gentle, supported twist in the spine here. And exhale, we'll gently release, untwisting the body, extending out that leg and switching sides. Bringing your left knee into your chest. You're going to hug that knee and maybe sway the knee side to side, just gently preparing it for a twist. Maybe prepping your block if you need. When you're ready, that left arm reaches out to the left as your right hand guides your right knee over towards the block there that's ready to support your knee. Again, you can lift up the block to use whatever height that you need that feels good for you. Your gaze is up at the sky or over at the left fingertips, drawing that left shoulder down towards the mat. Focusing on taking those deep, nice, long breaths. And exhale, you'll gently release, untwisting the body. You're going to just shift the blocks down towards where your knees are going to be in your reclined butterfly pose. Bring the soles of the feet together. You're going to open up the knees, placing the blocks just where they feel like they're supporting the legs comfortably. You can take your hands and place your right hand on your heart, your left hand on your stomach here, to take a moment to really connect to the breath, noticing the palms of your hands rise and fall with your breath. Really trying to elongate your breath, taking a really deep inhale into the stomach, ribs, chest, shoulders, and as you exhale, let it all out. We're going to gently take our hands to the outsides of our thighs and helping our legs with our hands to just gently bring the knees back together. You'll move the blocks a little bit so that you can roll onto your side. And we're going to gently transition slowly into a seated pose, maybe sitting up on our blocks, lifting the hips a little bit here in our seated pose, finding your hands on your thighs, maybe closing the eyes if you feel comfortable doing so. We'll take one last breath together here to finish up the practice. We'll inhale, reach the arms up towards the sky, and with an exhale, palms together, bringing your hands down towards your heart. Thank you so much for joining me here on the mat today. And if you're part of my 7-day prop exploration journey, congratulations on finishing day 5. And if you're interested in learning more ways of using your prop, click the link in the description or in the icons above and learn more about my free 7-day yoga journey with our props. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell icon so you don't miss out on my weekly videos.